Here, all practitioners and DMC board members, our retreat is coming to be successful. You all have been practicing Satipatthana meditation continuously and meticulously the whole week. And you are developing the 3 stages on the grand path that leads to liberation. There are 3 stages of development for a practitioner. Sila, morality, is the first stage. Concentration, samadhi, is the second. And Pinya, wisdom, is the third. The 8 steps of the Eightfold Noble Path are classified under these 3 stages: Sila, Samadhi, and Pinya. Sila, morality, includes right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Samadhi, concentration, includes right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And Pinya, wisdom, includes right understanding and right thoughts, which are the first 2 steps in the Eightfold Path. Although wisdom is in one sense the beginning of the Eightfold Path, in a more important sense, it is the outcome. There are 3 stages of development because there are 3 stages of mental defilements which must be overcome. So we have to overcome 3 stages of mental defilements. In the first stage, mental defilements are not manifest in words or deeds, but lie latent in each being. It is called Anusaya Kilesa, latent defilements. The second, Priyotana Kilesa, the second stage, they come up from the latent state to the level of thoughts, emotions, and feelings when they are awakened by an object, pleasant or unpleasant. The third one is transgressive. In this transgressive stage, mental defilements become fierce and ungovernable and produce evil actions. So remember, we need to overcome 3 stages of mental defilements: latent, obsessive, and transgressive. And we have to develop 3 stages: Sila, Samadhi, and Pinya, morality, concentration, and wisdom. The 3 stages of 3 stages of development dispel the 3 stages of mental defilements. Morality can dispel only the mental defilements of evil action, but leaves untouched the defilements of the 2 lower levels, so they could rise again. Therefore, morality is called temporary putting away mental defilements. During the practice, you observe sila, morality, and then you try to develop concentration moment by moment. You have very good experience to develop concentration. Your concentration can dispel only the second defilements of thoughts, emotions, and feelings. It can be effective for a considerable time, for it is more powerful than morality. But since the mental defilements, which are latent, are not dispelled, the defilements of the second level could arise again. So the putting away by concentration is called the putting away to a distance. And the mental defilements of the first level, the latent defilements, are dispelled by wisdom, by insight knowledge. They are untouched by morality or concentration, but when dispelled through insight knowledge, we never arise again. Getting rid of them by wisdom is like cutting a tree by the root. Therefore, the putting away by insight knowledge is called the cutting away. So 3 stages of development: sila, samadhi, pinya, morality, concentration, and wisdom. Since the 3 stages of development are interdependent and interrelated, they should be practiced at the same time. For example, when we are living a modern life, it is easier to have right concentration and right understanding. The practice of right concentration helps us to live rightly and to understand our life rightly, correctly. And in the same way, the practice of right understanding helps us to live rightly and to concentrate rightly. On the other hand, they cannot be practiced separately because it is impossible to live a moral life without concentration, with mind control, and without right understanding. In the same way, concentration and wisdom always require the other 2 stages. The first of the rules of discipline, sila, morality, prescribed for the lay disciple, are the 5 precepts. So lay disciple have to practice 5 precepts always: not to kill, not to steal, not to commit any sexual misconduct, not to lie, and not to take any intoxicating liquor or drugs. But in the intensive retreat, you observe 8 precepts, so your morality is more higher. But in the normal life, minimum 5 precepts are required to observe all the time. So the precepts, 5 precepts, are not the Buddha's commandment, which it would be considered a sin to break. They represent the preliminary ideals of a virtuous life, which a good person will accept wholeheartedly if he or she is to call himself or herself a Buddhist. He or she does not make a promise to the Buddha to obey the precepts. You give the promise to yourself. Panatipata Vedamani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. I accept the precepts to refrain from taking life, etc. You do not make a promise to the Buddha to obey these precepts, and you give the promise to yourself. Each man who repeats the precepts put himself on his honor to do his best not to break them. And if he or she breaks them, the only repentance which is constructive is to make the pledge to himself or herself again as many times as is necessary, day after day, month after month, year after year, until he wins the struggle against his or her lower nature. A good person must win the goal of purity and nobility by himself or herself. Neither the Buddha, nor angels, nor any celestial beings can bring a person to deliverance. So the practice of moral life is the foundation and essence of Buddhism. A person of right understanding who realizes the law of cause and effect may accept the precepts and then go on a step further and cultivate self-restraint. Since he or she realizes that overindulgence in sensual pleasures is a hindrance to moral and spiritual progress. A meditator who has learned to practice morality and master his senses is inclined to move the second stage on the path to Nirvana, the stage of control and culture of the mind, which brings a higher and more lasting happiness through your concentration. The higher happiness can be attained through jhanas. The word jhana comes from a root which may mean to think closely of an object or to burn advanced things which hinder spiritual progress. Jhana has been translated as absorptions or ecstasy, but it is best thought of as special extra-mundane experience. The meditator who seeks the second stage of development selects one of the recommended objects of concentration which appeals to his or her temperament and concentrate on it for days, weeks, months, or years until he is able to visualize it without difficulty. When he can visualize it without looking at it, he continues concentration on it until he develops it into a conceptualized object, at which stage he has attained proximate concentration. At that point, you can overcome temporarily the 5 mental hindrances of sensual desire, hatred, sloth, restlessness, and worry and doubt. By continuing in the discipline of concentration, meditators eventually attains the 5 stages of jhana. The mind of this spiritual man who has reached such high level of experience through the jhanas is highly refined, yet that man is not entirely free from evil tendency, because concentration can only overcome temporarily the evil tendency of the second stage of mental defilements. Since the evil tendency of the first stage, the latent defilements still remain untouched, and defilements of the second stage, the thoughts, emotions, and feelings aroused by sense objects, would arise again. So morality makes you gentle in your words and deeds. Concentration controls your mind and makes you calm, serene, and steady. And wisdom enables you to overcome all the mental defilements completely. So the meditators who have reached the third stage on the path to Nibbana, the stage of wisdom or insight knowledge, try to practice Satipatthana meditation continuously, and he or she tries to understand the true nature of Namarupa, mind and matter, and of the things of the world in general. And with your highly purified mind, you begin to realize that there is no ego principle or persistent identity of a self. And by continuing Satipatthana meditation, you can perceive that both mind and matter, which make up your personality, are in the state of constant flux, continuous change. And you see that all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. They are suffering and they are void of self-existence, anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So to meditators, then comes the knowledge that every form of worldly pressure is only a prelude to pain, and that everything is in a state of flux and cannot be the source of real happiness, cannot be source of true happiness permanent happiness. So meditators then concentrate on the three characteristics of existence: impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-ego. And having neither attachment nor aversion for worldly things, meditators intently keeps on developing insight knowledge into both internal and external phenomena until he or she eliminates the three factors: Sakaya Ditti, self-illusion, Vichikicca, doubt, and Silabhra Pramasa, clinging to vain rites and rituals. It is only when meditators destroy these three factors completely that he or she realizes Nibbana for the first time in his or her existence. At this stage, he or she is called one who has entered the streams that lead to Nibbana. For just as a stream flows inevitably towards the ocean, so the meditator will with certainty attain his or her final enlightenment. But because he has not eradicated the remaining 7 factors, he may be reborn as many as 7 times. When the meditator has developed deeper insight knowledge and weakened the next 2 factors, Kamaraga and Vyavara, sensual craving and ill will, meditator becomes a once returner. Because if he does not obtain final release in this present life, he will be reborn in the worlds of desire only once. When those 2 factors are completely discarded, meditator becomes a non-returner, one who will not be reborn in this world or any of the realms of sensual pleasures. But if he does not attain this final enlightenment in this life, he will be reborn in one of the higher suitable planes or pass from there to Nibbana. The 4th stage is that of Arahant, the perfected Arya, who completely annihilates the remaining 5 factors of craving for existence in the worlds of form, craving for existence in the immaterial world, pride or conceit. He annihilates restlessness and ignorance. Also he annihilates. Then he or she realizes that rebirth is exalted and the holy life is fulfilled, and what was to be done has been done. It is the highest, holiest peace and end of our greed, hatred, and delusion. The Arahants stands on heights more than celestial, realizing the unutterable bliss of Nirvana. There is nothing in him or her to cause him or her to be reborn again, or grow old again, or die again. There is nothing more for him to do, for he has shown that man can follow the path to liberation, the path of the Buddha to Nirvana. So our retreat is only just for a week, but you try continuously to develop 3 stages of development: Sila, Samadhi, and Pinya, morality, concentration, and wisdom. So may you continue your practice in your daily life. May you develop your 3 stages of development on the grand path that leads to Nirvana. May all practitioners realize the real peace in the very near future. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.